Welcome back to episode 7 of our Beauty Club. Just a quick one from us before we get started. Please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and other podcast platforms, and make sure to follow us on our socials. In today's episode, we have our first ever guest joining us, which we are super excited about. We're talking all things books, bakes and besties. Enjoy! So here we are, episode 7, and as promised, we have got a very special guest on today's pod. So let's introduce you to Sarah. Danny, she's your friend, so take the floor.
She is my friend, and the only person I've asked to do this that hasn't gone, oh, do I have to?
Love that. Welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much for having me
today. So Sarah is a Tropic super fan, which is obviously music to mine and Danny's ears. And we thought that it would give you, as our listeners, some insight into not just us as ambassadors going on about Tropic, but actually real life experiences and stories.
Yes, Sarah is an absolute diehard Tropic fan who I actually think you started using it before me, didn't you?
I remember you put a post on Instagram. We're going back years now, didn't we? And it was like looking for suggestions for new skincare to try.
Yes.
And I messaged commented on that story, and I was like, you've got to try Tropic, because my mum had bought me a starter pack for Christmas the year before, and I just fell in love with it straight away. And I was like, Danny, you need to try this. And now
Did you? What is that? Didn't I?
I was like, it's vegan skincare and it feels amazing.
Well, this is all down to you then, babes.
Yes.
Blast from the past. That's amazing. And what inspired you to start using Tropic? Obviously, you mentioned it was vegan. Are you a vegan or not?
No, not a vegan. It was that my mum had been to I think it was like the Chelmsford Rotary and someone had come along and done kind of like an old school Avon presentation where they brought the kids along and showed the products. And off the back of it, it was right before Christmas. Mum had bought starter kits for myself and my sister-in-law. And I started using them, not vegan, but I fell in love with them straight away. But we didn't have necessarily a ambassador. So it was just going on the website and ordering off. And then off the back of that, I think a friend of my mom's daughters had started selling it as well. And we would talk about it. And, I think in the past, I've been really either lax with skincare or like all in. And it would be, I would go and get a facial and be sold a whole bunch of products. My skin's quite sensitive, so it would always feel that little bit too harsh. And Tropic was the first thing I used that didn't make my skin go red or itchy or uncomfortable, or it just sort of felt clean, I think is the best way to describe it. Clean and hydrated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because actually, now you say that, you order unscented, don't you?
Yeah.
There's very few people that order unscented. And I think I've said to you before, have you tried the scented?
And I think probably just because I'm sort of psychologically like, I don't want anything that potentially could irritate my skin, even though it probably wouldn't. Yeah. I get the unscented one.
So was it the cleanser, toner, moisturizer then that got you hooked before you tried everything else? Because I know you've got everything else.
I've tried to get everything else as it comes in, and only recently actually got into the rainforest dew. And that was off the back of something I hope you guys do again, the advent calendar.
Yes.
How exciting was that?
It was amazing. And off the back of that, I think I text you quite often, Danny. I'm like, I'm using the perfume and I'm using the pillow spray at night now. But one of the things of that was I actually tried the rainforest dew, and I think I asked you how to use it properly. And then I was like, I love this.
Can't go without that.
I probably wouldn't normally have tried some of the serums, etc. But that being in the pack and trying all of the good new stuff, I hope they do the advent calendar again.
Interesting you say that though, because me and Elle are always saying to people, try the cleanser, toner, moisturizer before thinking about the serums, because a lot of the time people find that just using those 3 on their own can massively transform their skin. So sometimes you can use them 3 and go, do you know what, I don't actually need anything else. But obviously because you've got the advent calendar, you've got to try it. And quite honestly, I do think rainforest dew is one for everybody. I don't go a morning without that. Do you use that, Elle?
I do, and I actually have it here as if
you need a new one soon.
It's always nearby. I do love rainforest dew. This is probably the serum that I use most, if I'm honest. I don't particularly suffer with dry skin, but I just love how kind of dewy and hydrated it leaves my skin. I have actually got some facts and stats on this little rainforest dew for our listeners. A rainforest dew is £44, and it actually increases hydration by 111% after just 2 hours, which is like amazing when you compare it to other products. So this is basically, as me and Danny have said before, a glass of water for your face. In essence, it's got hyaluronic acid in there, which holds, up to 1,000 times its weight in water. So it's really going to help the moisture just to retain in your face. And like I say, just give that intense daily hydration. So yeah, that's the little rainforest dew
Love it.
serum there.
The really good thing about that one as well is like I don't know exactly. I know Danny. I know how old you are, but I'm 42 now. People start knocking around the word perimenopause,
Yeah.
although I'm in denial. But at this
I'm
age,
not.
like
I think I've got that.
Yeah, we spoke about that last week, didn't we?
I told her, the lady who does my nails, I went in one day and I went to her. I was feeling in a particularly bad mood, and I went, "I've caught the menopause." She was like,
Ah,
"Shut." She was like, "Shut up, Sarah." I was like, "I'm having a bad day." But no, so at this, like, I think the big difference I've noticed is like estrogen sort of like starts crashing out your system, like, and your skin gets really dry. Like, I've always had like drier, more sensitive skin, but it was just getting and adding the rainforest dew in is just changed things up again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's a lot of women that I know Danny comes across, and I do too, where their skin is sort of changing with age, whether it be the elasticity, whether it be the hydration, whether it be they're getting more fine lines. And the great thing about Tropic, as you know, is there's so many different products that you can add in when you need,
Yeah.
and you don't necessarily have to use them every day. But the fact that there's an option there, I can imagine is quite comforting for someone who's, struggling with a certain aspect of their skin. It's really interesting to hear you speak about it. Obviously, I'm pretty new to Tropic in comparison to Danny, but you've pretty much been there before, both of us, and the evolution of Tropic and its products and how it's helped you. How long have you actually been using Tropic for? And your skin, I'm assuming, has changed more recently over the years as well. So how have the products help to kind of maintain your skin?
I think it was 2019 actually that I
Wow.
I was going to say,
started.
I put that out on my Instagram. I think it was about June 2020.
Yeah, it was around because I remember it was before lockdown,
Yeah.
and I think probably about a good year before lockdown that I first started. But I kind of dipped my toes in. Like I started with like say with the ABC. Over time, I then added in I might get the name wrong. Body Love. Is it Body Love?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
have the product, I just click the buttons or I send Danny a text message and I'm like, I saw your video. Those ones, please.
I was going to say, you are terrible. Like, I post a video and you're like, whatever that was, I want
Whatever that was,
that.
I want that one. Yeah, so then started adding the moisturizers in. I did try the hair care, and I just couldn't get on with it myself. It didn't. So what I like is like that didn't necessarily suit, but so many other things have. And what's great about Tropic is you get your little minis, so you can try different things. So then if you want to, you don't feel sort of compelled. Like when I did the hair care, I just bought like just the small little pack
Yeah.
just to try it,
Discovery kit, isn't it?
rather than feeling like I had to buy a big thing of shampoo or something to try that. So the next thing that was the shampoo. I then got things like the scalp massager.
You are really a super fan.
I have the body scrub. I like that one for sort of like when you're in the bath. And then came makeup, which I didn't. And then I think that was more through then Danny and her videos and following her on Instagram and chatting to her at school and stuff, that I hadn't got any concept of the fact that they did makeup. I then transitioned to, again, having sensitive skin, in particular my eyes, using Tropics mascara over a high-end brand means that I don't get dry eyes or itchy. There's no stinging. Like the eyeliner, if I get it in my eyes, I get it in my eyes. It's not a problem.
Yeah. And I guess it's
Yeah.
reassuring where the products are, generally organic, they're natural,
Yeah.
naturally derived. Like you say, with someone with sensitive skin, you haven't got that worry of, am I going to come out blotchy? Am I going to have a reaction? Because 9 times out of 10, it'll be absolutely fine because there's nothing harmful in there. So I love their makeup. I'm
Yeah.
diving into that side of it now. But no, they're a good all-round brand.
Just a sidestep, have you guys seen the viral video going around of Victoria Beckham's contouring?
No.
No.
So she's got a contour like crayon type thing, and she shows how she does it. So I've just done a video doing that, but with our Tropic Illuma.
Oh my God, I love that. Your videos
Yeah.
are so good. Like you just you just get them in one and they're just amazing. So I'll be excited to see that.
Yeah, no, I'll have to sort it out and post it soon. But what I was going to say to you, Sarah, is that like, do you find then that you started with the cleanser, toner, moisturizer, and that gave you faith in trying the rest of the stuff, like
Yes.
because you knew that you was okay with that, so you thought I can try some other bits now.
Yeah, it just felt so good. And, I like to any friends I speak to that are talking about their skin, particularly like around sort of like similar age to me, and they'll say, "Oh, what do you use?" And I say, "Oh, I use Tropic." I can't like wax lyrical enough about it, and I'll always say, and they're like, "Well, watch." I'm like, "Start with the ABC, try that."
Well,
And
that's funny because
yeah,
your friend did text me last week and
yeah.
she said, "Oh, I'm interested in trying Tropic." Sarah said about the rainforest Jew.
Did I mention? Yeah, I will have said that to her, yeah, as well. But she's quite similar in that, 42 years old, and skin is getting starting to change a little bit. And yeah, and I have added things in also as I've got older, but also as I've sort of explored the products a lot more, or, like the renewing cleanser.
Yeah.
And that came off the back of watching a video of yours where you sort of scraped this bit of it. And I've like confess I can be quite bad on an evening. Like I used to, fall into bed, not take my makeup off. And then, but the renewing cleanser, I just find that really easy to sort of rub on my hands, rub on my face, and you kind of almost just wipe it off with a wet cloth as opposed to like any kind of late night mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did it surprise you that it doesn't leave you oily like
Not
behind?
at
Like
all.
once the water hits it, it turns to like a milk and then it's
Yeah,
gone.
it just feels so. I think that's the thing about Tropic. They just feel so good on your skin. Whereas other sort of like I said, the other sort of like high end brands that I've maybe tried in the past, you've used used them more in like a negative way. They just feel a little harsh and
Yeah. The renewing cleanser, which again I have here, and it comes with this gorgeous little gold spatula in this vegan velvet pouch.
Why is that bit my favourite bit? Like I just think it's so
No, so
cute.
cute, aren't they? Adorable.
I love
The renewing cleanser is £62, and I really like that it has. So if you can see that if you're viewing this on YouTube, but it has the instructions on the packaging, which I just think is a really nice touch. And then
Why did
it,
I know that?
it's just so premium. Like it's shiny, it's red, it's gold. It smells delicious, and like Sarah was saying, you just use your spatula and you just dig it out, and put it on your face. And it's a butter, but it's almost like a balm to oil consistency, which really gets into all of those micro cracks and lines in your face. It's got a plant-based formula, enriched in ceramides, and yeah, it just really helps to support a compromised skin barrier. So as Sarah mentioned, anyone that's kind of perimenopausal or menopausal, when the texture of your skin is changing, it might feel a little bit more delicate, then using this renewing cleanser is going to really, really help to improve just the overall feel and plumpness of your skin. So that is definitely one for you, ladies, and it's £62, which I actually think is a really good price point. And it has 3,000 rose otto petals in there, which gives it the most incredible scent and smell. So that one is a real win.
Sarah L turned like February.
Yeah.
So I told her she needs all the red stuff now.
Yeah, the red and gold stop you getting old.
I think that's really handy though, that I know when I've spoken to you about my daughter and her skincare, and I'm very particular that she tries to stay away from sort of like the sort of things you see on Instagram and to stick more with, say, something like Tropic. And I've shown you stuff before and oh, can she use this? And you're like, red and gold. No,
Yeah.
like she needs it. So it's a good like code for, yeah, you can have this. You can use this of mine. You can't use that.
I
Yeah.
was going to say that about the mini me's. So our mini me's are friends, aren't they? And they're both quite into their skincare. But I don't think anyone is as into their skincare as your mini me. I think she's even more into it than me.
She's huge. She was actually the one though that sold it to my friend Alicia. She took it to she took it to her daughter, and her daughter tried it and then went to her mum and said, can we get some of this? And then that's when, yeah. I
Another
love
6
that.
years, I am signing her up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a question from me, obviously, I don't have children yet, but I am very aware that the younger generation, you know, especially when I guess they've got cool mums like you, they want to be like you. They want to have their own skincare or their own makeup. And
No, they don't think we're cool.
no, they don't think you're cool, but I'm just saying,
We are though.
you are. You're not a regular mums, you're cool mums. And in terms of like managing that, as you said, Sarah, they want to use everything, but the fact that Tropic does actually have skincare that's suitable for young skin. Obviously, young skin doesn't need a full-on skin routine, but I think it's important, and I wish I had something maybe growing up that could help my skin, you know, with the breakouts and the teenage years and just the hormones in their skin, girl or boy. Does that reassure you? And Danny, I guess you as well, because I know that your daughter uses it. Does it reassure you that Tropic is natural, it hasn't got any nasties in there, and it's going to be safe for them?
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, it's sort of like installing like good habits in them and making good choices with skincare as well from like a younger age.
Yeah, because I become obsessed. If we're in Boots or whatever and she wants to pick up the latest thing that she's seen on TikTok, I'm like a crazy person looking at the ingredients now. And I'm like, really? I can give you something better than this.
Yes.
And when I think back to when I was a teenager, Sarah, I don't know if you ever used these, but do you remember the Oxy pads? They came in like a blue pot,
Yes.
and you got pads out and you scratch them around your face until it
Breaks your face. Yeah.
stung, and it would sting like a beep. And then you'd be like, oh, but my face is so clean, and you'd still have the spots anyway.
Yeah. And you'd be red and patchy and like, and then dry, you know.
Oh, it sounds like hell. Thank God for Tropic, and that
Yeah.
this day's generation has got the option to use it, because that sounds wild.
Saying to her, I'm like, tell your friends about it. Make this cool.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that is one of the main things. I actually put a like a poll on my socials saying ask me anything, and someone asked me what's like the most difficult thing about being an ambassador, or what do you find most difficult? And I said I find most difficult that people will trust, you know, a celebrity or an influencer that
Yeah.
they've seen once on, you know, YouTube, or just because they've been on a reality TV program, rather than actually trusting someone they know. And I know that there's a few of us that feel that way. And it's a shame, because young girls who are trying skincare and are doing, you know, all of this stuff to their face, actually, it's probably going to damage their face. But it's because you've got things like TikTok and influencers. They're just selling these products because I guess they're getting paid for it, not really looking at their audience. So if there are any mums out there, or anyone who thinks that a younger person could benefit from skincare, or if they're really into their skincare, then Tropic does have lots of options. And we've got our discovery kits, and having an ambassador like myself and Danny, and obviously people like Sarah who has used the products and has had her own experience with it, just ask us. We can recommend products for, you know, each individual. But I just think it's worth noting that we can help all ages, from the teenage years all the way up to perimenopause and menopause.
I think it's important as well. I think I said it before in another pod, Elle. Like, I refer back to way back when Cheryl Cole used to advertise a box dye, and she had red hair, and it was like, because I'm worth it and all that. Do you actually believe that Cheryl Cole gets a box dye off the shelf at Sainsbury's? Like, come on, she's not. But
Yeah.
people buy it because she says she uses it.
Yeah.
Like, these celebrities probably aren't even using these products.
Yeah, it's a crazy world, and pretty scary world, I think. Yeah, that's just what I find most difficult, the competing. And although it's great, the ethos and the business model behind Tropic and us as ambassadors, Susie recently done an interview saying that we are, you know, the biggest marketing tool, having over 10,000 ambassadors. And I do really believe that, but I just want people to trust more, number one, in the brand, and then I think that will follow through to us, for anyone that's apprehensive. And Sarah, if there is anyone listening that is worried to take the leap, or is kind of like, oh, I'm not really sure, what would your advice from a customer side of it be? In
It is just try it, really. I'd go with ABC, and if you're unsure, again, they do the small discovery kits. So you can get the ABC. It comes with a little serum as well, if I'm right. Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, it comes with it. And just to give it a go, I think you'd be hard pushed to find anyone try the ABC and not go, my skin feels really good. Whether you want to continue with it, fine. But like most people I know, once they've tried Tropic, they've stuck with Tropic. Might not be for everything. It might be just that they love the makeup. So that's where they get their makeup from now. It might be that they love their other brands of makeup, but their skincare is Tropic. It can't think of anyone who's tried it who's then stuck at least with some part of it.
Yeah.
Do you think, well, I say this all the time, and I think we've said this, Sarah. Before Tropic, I was using other high-end brands that were doing absolutely nothing for my
Yeah.
face, but I thought, well, it's expensive, so it must work.
Yeah.
And I dipped in and out, like you say, couldn't be bothered in the evening sometimes, just used whatever I saw someone else using. I didn't get any kind of help with it.
Mhm.
And I just did it as and when. Whereas as soon as I started Tropic, because I had that support from an ambassador, and I was like,
Yeah.
how do I use this? What do I use this with? What order do I do it in? You know, the amount of plans that I've written out for people for morning routine, evening routine. It was like brushing my teeth then. I couldn't miss a
No.
cleanse. I can't, I feel like I'm cheating myself if I don't wash my face morning and night.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like on a nighttime, even to the point that I'm like, especially once I got the renewed cleanser, I was like, it's time to wash my face before I go to bed.
Yeah.
No, I think the ambassadors. I mean, you know that I reach out to you quite a bit. You've got a really good social media following. Lots of people trust you and come to you for advice on it. But I think our mutual friend Lara always cracks me up the most when she's like, I spend a lot of time watching Danny wash her face. Like that's
Yeah,
where I
but
get
she
my
doesn't buy
it's where I get my
anything.
skincare help from. I watch Danny wash her face and then I wash my face.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but
Well,
Laura doesn't buy anything. She goes, oh, and she moans about it, and then I tell her what to use, and then she just carries on as she is anyway.
This is
Laura, if you're
she's just
listening,
the try.
Laura, if you're listening, I'm bitching about you.
But she uses the makeup though. So she's
She
someone
does.
who, yeah,
She does.
does use likes the makeup. I like it all, and I hope that my daughter sort of and I do think the kids do. They say we're not cool, but I think they know they've got cool mums.
Yeah.
They do deep
They've got
down, whether they want to say it out loud or not. Lots
Alyssa
of
thought
Hmm?
she thought that I was cool last night with my reel that I put on Instagram, and I put it on TikTok as well. She thought that was good, so I was like, "Whoa, I
Yeah.
made it."
Yeah, it's like the preteen approval is huge.
Yeah.
And going back to like price point, and you've both mentioned that you've used kind of expensive brands, and I'm sure there are many listeners that are stuck in their ways and who are using really expensive brands, and the smart is expensive, so it must be good.
Yeah.
In terms of price point and comparing, Sarah, obviously as a customer, some people say, "Oh, it's a bit too expensive," but how would you say, as someone who's used it from for years, that the price is justified in terms of what you get and the feeling of the products?
I think for me, it's more that it might seem expensive, but it lasts.
Yeah.
That renewed cleanser at £62, someone might go, oh my gosh, £62 for a cleanser. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
The products really last. The serums last ages. It's where you might think it's on the more expensive end. When you look at how long the product lasts for, it's not.
Yeah, per use, I guess it
Yeah.
balances out. And we have said that as well on the pod, I think. And I obviously say it to my customers as well, that something might last you kind of 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how much you're using it. Whereas if you was using something else that might be a bit cheaper, you're just replacing it. I saw something on social media last week that said people walk into Boots and they throw in kind of 5, 6, 7 different serums, and they don't even think about it, but it's like £10 here, £10 there, and that all adds up. And actually, all of those products, but you're using a lot more than you probably need, and you could just use one particular one from Tropic that's the same price, that will simplify your routine and will be kinder and better for your skin. So it's just getting people to make that switch, isn't it? And the mentality
I
of
think as well, especially when you get to say my age, although I still feel very young, that your skin is changing and you are noticing the fine lines and the wrinkles and that, like, your skin's more of an investment anyway.
yeah.
Because this could go downhill real quick now. It could, or I could invest in a good, skincare routine, which makes my skin looks better now than it did at 35, than it did at 30.
Yeah. Well,
Same.
Well, it does look. I mean, both of your skin looks incredible.
Actually had someone come to me a long time ago. She still uses Tropic now, and she was using a really, I hate saying the word high end because it's high end price point wise, but quality wise it's not. The night cream was £110. I mean, it's probably gone up since then.
Yeah.
So when I told her that she could get her cleanser, toner, moisturizer, a free, mask treatment, and a night cream and a serum, all for the same price as her night cream, she was like, "What? That's brilliant." Where there are other people that you've got from the other end of the scale that will be using something from a supermarket. So to them, it does seem expensive. But when it's just from a supermarket, you squirt out loads of it, you use it willy nilly, whatever, I'll pick it up on my next food shop. I think when you're using something good, you actually need to use less of it and you take more care of it because, like you say, it's an investment. So we've talked a lot about what you use and why you love it, Sarah, but I haven't actually introduced you properly. So Sarah is a long friend of mine, but Sarah is also an absolutely fabulous cake maker who is always on hand on Boxing Day to make my child's birthday cake. The only person I know who would. You're a forever friend. But you also, so you do fabulous baking on Instagram as well, don't you? We'll tag your page on our socials, but you also are involved in a podcast of your own, which is for a book club, right?
Yes. Yeah. Part 2 book club.
So how do you find the time to read all these books when you've got 3 kids? That's what baffles me.
If you spoke to the other 3 members of the book club, they would say I was the book club pain in the ass because I take the longest time to read the books because you're juggling a business, you're juggling school runs, 3 kids, all the chaos that comes with that.
Yeah.
So I do try to find the time. It's normally in a car park waiting to pick up a kid, and I'll take the books with me. I've tried audiobooks. I can't quite get on with them. I wish I could because it would mean I could just put them on in the car while I was driving. But it's a book club, but it kind of moonlights as a bit of a perimenopause support group where, we're 4 old friends who have come together to, all at the same age, but all kind of going through things at different rates. And actually, funnily enough, 2 of them are now Danny's customers as well because I've
Love that.
because I've gone on and on about Tropic. So we kind of like try to support each other through all of the chaos of life, really.
I am in my reading girl era at the moment. If I've got a spare 5 minutes at home, Dan finds me reading my book. And he even sends me funny reels about women in bed who would rather read their book. And I'm like, yep, that's me.
But it's an escape. And I think especially as well in an evening in bed, it is that kind of like mental wind down. And you do sort of get to relax and switch off and enter a different world. And I mean, I love reading. I try to find the time for I think when a book really grips me, I'm like what you would say, like, I've got 5 minutes, I'm going to read the next bit.
Yes.
Where I might struggle sometimes with the book club is that it's not necessarily always a book in a genre that I would be particularly interested in, or
I would struggle with that.
Yeah, I have to stick with a story to get to the end because we're doing a review. So that's probably where I struggle with the book club as opposed to actually just with reading in general. But
do you not ever just like do what we did at school and go, yeah, I read that, and then you could just ask ChatGPT, tell me what this book is about?
I would never do that.
I would. Don't invite me to your book club.
That's how your best friend ChatGPT, isn't it, Danny?
There was one that I didn't read. There was one I put my hands up after about, I think maybe I got about 2-3 chapters in, and I was like, I'm not reading this, guys. I was like, I will do this review, brutally honest, as I did not read because I found it so terrible.
Oh, that's good. You've got to be honest, haven't you?
Yeah.
And where, obviously, you said that your friends and yourself have come together, you're all sort of the same age, but what inspired you to create this book club, and where was the idea born from? Like, whose idea was it? How has it helped you, as friends and as with other people, I'm assuming, who listen to your podcast or your book reviews?
Well, it was my friend Sean, who was very, very into the romance genre. She kind of got into it as well as a bit of an escape, enjoyed it, would sit down, read a book, would tell us about the books. If there was something funny or something rude or something naughty, like we'd hear about. And then another friend of mine, Zara, she read one of the books and went, oh, this isn't too bad. And then we were spending quite a bit of time. I think it was around the time we had all just turned 40. So yeah, I'm like the baby of the group, which they'll love me getting in there. So I think I had just turned 40 and we were starting to talk about things like the perimenopause and changes we were experiencing, you know, in mood, in skin, and like a whole
Yeah.
wealth of stuff. Like all of us, we use WhatsApp groups sometimes as like little therapy sessions, don't we? And we then just decided basically to take that online. And sometimes we'll talk about New Year's resolutions, mental health, or it will be about whatever shocking book. And I picked a terrible one the last time I picked it. So yeah, it's it's a bit hit and miss, but it was more sort of a touch point for us to come together and maybe share what it's like at this time in life with, you know, hopefully with more people.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea and the sense of kind of community. And as you say, you know, you touch on a lot of things. And I think you touched on mental health. And before you said it helps you to unwind. And it is actually Mental Health Awareness Week coming up in the middle of May. And reading can help reduce stress after just 6 minutes of reading. So that's really important. I am not an avid reader. I am much more, I'm not even going to say that I listen to audiobooks because I don't. But I have friends that read, and my mum, my auntie, like lots of people are obsessed, like you guys, with just getting in that 5 minutes or finishing the book and coming together with your friends as well. Sounds super fun. And where can our listeners find you if you know, they want to take a little look? Are you on socials, or have you got a
It is part2_book club on Instagram. We are also, I think, available on every platform that you'd find a podcast, on Spotify, Apple.
Amazing.
I don't think we've got TikTok.
Oh,
Try and pick
TikTok's
yourself up though, Elle, because I have only just really got into the reading thing. I hated reading at school, and even I'd take a book on holiday, but it would take me a good 2 weeks to finish a book. And I've only just now found what my genre is, and I can't defer from that. Like, I would be no good at a book club because I just wouldn't be able to get into anything unless it had romance in it. And apparently at the moment, cowboys.
Ooh, yeehaw!
Danny, you're perfect for our book club. It's all romance, and I'm pretty sure Sean loves a cowboy. So
Oh. Oh, I love this. No, that sounds really exciting, and I'm sure that lots of our listeners would be intrigued to see what you ladies get up to and what you talk about, and I guess maybe share if they've read the same books. But if anyone is struggling with mental health and you enjoy reading, then that is definitely one to help relax you and like just help you unwind, like the ladies.
I have to agree with that, Elle, because I got into the reading purely because I picked up a book because I was in a bookshop with my daughter. And I have discovered that when I do sit down and read for a good 10 minutes, I do feel calmer and more relaxed. And I'm only thinking about what's in the book. If I'm watching the telly or I'm on my phone, my mind still defers back to things that I'm worrying about or things that I'm anxious about. Whereas when I'm in a really good book, that's all I'm thinking about. And I think that's why I've got into such a habit with reading at the moment, because it does calm me down.
it gives your brain a break, I always find.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
move on to sort of like relax for a minute or two.
But why is it cool to like sit somewhere in public and wait and just be scrolling on your phone? But it's not so cool to just like get out your book. You know,
Yeah.
like if I'm watching a kid at a club, everyone's sitting there on their phone. But I feel like if I got
Doom
out and read my
scrolling.
book, it's like a real, well, you're not watching your kid, are you? You're reading your book. Like,
Oh my God. We always, when we went on family holidays, right? Obviously, as kids, you want to play, like me and my cousins, you know, wanted to get the mums in the pool and, you know, swim and whatever. And every holiday that I can remember when I was younger, my mum and my aunt and my nan sometimes just laid there on the sunbed with a book, and they'd be like, in a minute, we're just reading the book, or in a minute. And honestly, as a child, I mean, and if you asked them, they would say this is a true story. You just always felt like they was reading, and they was just like robbing us of our childhood holiday memories. Obviously, that wasn't the case. We'd done lots of things and made lots of memories, but in that moment, as a kid, I'm like, Mum, stop being so boring. Stop reading your book. Get in.
yeah.
But it's such a thing, though. It's such a thing.
I
But
feel like I still think that about my mum now. And yet I'm there reading a book as well.
I don't know about you, but mum got into having a Kindle. I don't even know why Kindles become so popular. I guess maybe because they're slim and you can chuck them in your bag.
I've got a Kindle, but I
don't know.
prefer a physical book. I like to see how much I've got left and actually hold a book.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to read I had to read a book recently on my phone, and I found it just really difficult. I've now got the paperback of it, and yeah, so I much prefer it actually being able to physically hold the book. Because it's kind of
Yeah.
like you're giving yourself a break from a screen as well. I think if you go on a Kindle,
Yeah.
you're just like one screen for another.
Yeah, and also I think when we speak about in bed, if she's like winding down for the evening, obviously blue light, scrolling on your phone, all of that, it doesn't allow your brain to shut down. Whereas if you've got a hardback copy of a book, then you're not suffering those kind of hindrances to your sleep and to your rest and to your brain shutting down. So I think that's a really important thing to remember. And doom scrolling is like a massive thing. They were saying on This Morning earlier that it's just a habit. You just, because everything is on your phone. So you're like, well, I wonder if I can get that on my phone. Or like you say, you read a book, tried to read a book on your phone, and some people just can't get on with it. But I'm fully here for bringing back like the books and getting rid of the devices because my brain
I'll
is
send
tired.
you. I'll send you my cowboy series,
Oh
Elle, and
yeah.
tell me after
Did
that
you
if you
watch
don't love
Yellowstone?
reading.
Did you watch Yellowstone?
Oh, of course. That's why I love the books. They're not about Yellowstone, but as soon as I read it, that's the feel I got. And I was like, I'm
Oh, I
loving
love
this.
it. And I think the new one, the Dutton Ranch or something,
Yes.
come in. I cannot wait.
Can't wait.
Absolutely. Oh, I mean, who can resist a cowboy?
Not me.
I mean, honestly, just like weak at the knees.
Oh, I'll tell you something funny. Dan keeps saying, "Oh, you sure you don't want to relocate? You sure you don't want to move to America? You sure?" And he keeps saying it every like month or so. He says it. He's been saying it for years. And I was like, "What would we do? Like, there's a few things we could do, but I'm like, but what would we do? Like, I can't do Tropic anymore. There's a lot of things I couldn't do anymore. What would we do?" He's like, "We'll get a ranch." Like,
Yeah, duh.
hung. Right? When you can prove to me that you can ride a horse, we'll get a ranch. But can you imagine my husband riding a horse?
I would pay money to see Dan on a horse.
I said to my
Pay
mum,
money.
can he ride your horse? Because once he can ride a horse, apparently we're getting a ranch. And she was like, he is not coming near my horse.
That is brilliant. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so I feel like we've covered a lot. And, Sarah, you've been absolutely amazing. And there's been a burning question inside throughout. Obviously, you've probably seen the evolution of Tropic as a brand in the products. And if there was one thing that you would wish for or that you would like to see in the future, is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, because we went organic in 2022, and I was interested to know whether you even noticed that as a customer.
I love it. Just a bonus, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So there is one product. I think I've mentioned it to you, Danny, before, where I said, "Oh, could they do this?" You can put a word in at the get-togethers and everything. And it's the ABC. You've got the face mist.
Yeah.
I just want a whole body one. Like not necessarily the same thing,
Oh,
but something that when you're like,
Interesting.
yeah, like you're getting ready to go out in the summer or something, and you want it not because I have obviously the body oils and stuff too, but
Did you get the body shimmer?
yep, her
The
body shimmer.
spray?
But something
Yeah.
that's like kind of cooling, hydrating, like the facial mist, or like when you're lying by a pool and you just spritz yourself. But I think I love
Yeah.
it so much when I spray it on my face. I feel like I sometimes sort of spritz a little lower, but yeah, that's one thing that I've always thought would be quite nice to have, sort of some kind of body hydrating mist.
fabulous idea.
That is a good shout.
If anyone
Suggestion
from
box.
Tropic HQ or Innovation are listening to this pod,
Yeah.
Let's put it forward,
What
Elle,
an
and see if
idea.
it comes, and we'll call it the Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah's spray.
But just a quick one, because I meant to ask you earlier, Sarah. So bearing in mind you've used it longer than me, when I started, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe the ABC, which is now the Essentials collection, was £56, and now obviously it's 72. But that price increase has happened very gradually over a long period of time. Have you felt that? Have you ever questioned it, or have you just gone, do you know what? That's the way of the world. Things go up.
Yeah, I think as well, maybe just having my own business too, I've seen that started in 2020, price increases I've had to pass on because I can't absorb,
Yeah.
would naturally go, oh, that's a couple of pounds more. But I know I'm paying a couple of pounds more for butter or for eggs or, so I'm having, or cake boards, random expensive part of baking a cake is a cake board. So
Yeah.
I've always been quite sympathetic with that sort of element of it, that things are going up because I see it in my day to day. And so whenever anyone sort of like, whether it's a kid's tennis coach or something says I'm putting up my prices, I'm really understanding because you've got to, you've got to, no one can afford to absorb all of the cost of the increasing cost of all the
Yeah.
ingredients. So I think I've maybe not necessarily noticed it, but I haven't been unhappy with the increase in price. I think you get a little bit more now as well than you used to, in terms of like the little mini comes with it, you know, and normally another little product. I think I've had Sundays come in it before as well, the Sunday one. So you do tend to get a little bit more. But it's just the way of the world. Yeah,
there's always offers and there's always freebies included, and there is ways for you to make the most of your money with Tropic, I believe. But if anyone wants the best tasting cake that is moist, some people don't like the word moist,
they do.
then get one of Sarah's cakes, because she's ridiculously, like, what's the word? You undercharge. Yours should be so much more for what they are.
Thank you very much.
Well, not to me though. I don't want to pay anymore.
No.
Sarah, this is a challenge for you, but do you think you could make a cake in the shape of a rainforest dew bottle?
Yeah.
Because I'm having a launch for a space that I'm going to be doing Tropic facials in the summer, and I would actually love to have something like that. So if we could get maybe, because we all love it, so why the hell not? And it's green and it's great.
I would love that. I would love that.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
it's exciting. Oh well, I can't wait to taste. Can't wait to taste the cake.
I'm definitely coming for the launch then, Elle, because I'm going to need some of that cake.
Slice and cake. Sarah, obviously, you're more than welcome to join.
I will.
No, today's been amazing, and obviously having our first guest on the pod, I'm sure our listeners will be very grateful to not just hear myself and Danny jabber on for an hour, but also having someone that clearly is super passionate about Tropic and the benefits and
He needs to be an ambassador.
I know. Well, I was thinking this in my brain, and I was thinking, don't want to put her on the spot because it seems like you've got a lot going on as it is.
Too much, yeah.
You really would, because even just in this pod, you've said how many recommendations that you've given, and clearly people listen and trust you, and you're a great kind of walk-in advert for Tropic. You know, you look great and you speak about it really well. So yeah, definitely food for thought.
Thank you so much for coming on, Sarah.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been really fun.
It really has. And we'll obviously share all of Sarah's cake baking and the book club handles on our socials. Join us next time for maybe another special guest. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening. You can keep up to date with us on Instagram at the Tropic Beauty Club. Don't forget to send us all your questions, and we'll catch you next time for Danny and Ellie's Tropic Beauty Club.